As a health analyst specializing in geriatric nutrition, I have spent countless hours consulting with older adults who seek to reclaim the vitality and mobility of their youth. A recurring theme in our conversations is the persistent, often debilitating pain in their joints. While we discuss exercise, physical therapy, and medical treatments, I always steer the conversation toward a powerful, yet often underestimated, tool in our arsenal: diet. The food we eat is not merely fuel. Particularly in the context of conditions like osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, is chronic inflammation. Imagine it as a slow-burning fire within your body. While acute inflammation is a healthy and necessary response to injury, chronic inflammation is a destructive force that slowly erodes tissues, including the precious cartilage that cushions our bones. Many popular foods in the modern Western diet act as kindling for this fire. Over the years, we will delve into the first four major categories of foods that I strongly advise my older clients to limit or avoid for the sake of their long-term joint health. 1. The sweet deception: added sugars and refined carbohydrates. This category is, without a doubt, the most pervasive and damaging. We're not talking about the natural sugars found in a whole apple or a bowl of berries, which come packaged with fiber, water, and micronutrients. We are targeting the added sugars and simple carbohydrates that have been stripped of their nutritional value. What they are. This includes the obvious culprits like sugary soft drinks, candy, desserts, and pastries. But it also encompasses a vast range of less obvious sources: white bread, white rice, pasta made from refined flour, many breakfast cereals, and even seemingly healthy items like flavored yogurts and ketchup, which are often laden with hidden sugars. The mechanism of harm. When you consume these foods, your blood sugar spikes rapidly. In response, your body releases a cascade of inflammatory messengers called cytokines. Think of these cytokines as the generals of an inflammatory army, signaling for an attack. This systemic inflammation directly aggravates the sensitive tissues within your joints. Furthermore, high sugar intake leads to the formation of compounds called advanced glycation end products, AGEs. AGEs are nasty molecules that form when sugar attaches to proteins in your bloodstream. These AGEs directly attack collagen and elastin, the very proteins that give your cartilage its strength and flexibility, making it brittle and more susceptible to damage. The tangible impact. For an older adult, a diet high in these foods can translate to more frequent pain flare-ups, increased morning stiffness, and an accelerated progression of arthritic conditions. By simply swapping white bread for whole grain, sugary cereals for oatmeal, and soda for infused water, you can significantly reduce this inflammatory load. 2. The problem with processed and red meats. For many, a meal isn't complete without meat. However, the type and quantity of meat consumed can have profound implications for your joints. What they are. Processed meats include items like hot dogs, sausages, bacon, and deli meats. Red meats refer to beef, pork, and lamb. The mechanism of harm. These meats are typically high in two inflammatory triggers: saturated fats and purines. Saturated fats can trigger inflammation in adipose, fat, tissue, which doesn't just stay localized, but releases inflammatory agents that travel throughout the body, including to the joints. Red and processed meats are also high in the aforementioned AGEs, especially when cooked at high temperatures like grilling or frying. Additionally, red meats are rich in purines, chemical compounds that the body breaks down into uric acid. For individuals susceptible to gout, a painful form of inflammatory arthritis, excess uric acid can crystallize in the joints, causing excruciating pain and swelling, most famously in the big toe. The tangible impact. A diet heavy in these meats is consistently linked in clinical studies to higher levels of inflammatory markers in the blood, such as C-reactive protein, CRP, and interleukin-6. For someone with rheumatoid arthritis, this can mean more severe and frequent flare-ups. I advise my clients to treat red meat as a special occasion food rather than a daily staple, and to largely replace processed meats with lean proteins like poultry and especially anti-inflammatory omega-3 rich fish. 3. Unhealthy fats, the saturated and trans fat trap. Fat is not the enemy. The type of fat is the issue. While healthy unsaturated fats are essential, saturated and artificial trans fats are highly inflammatory. What they are: saturated fats are found in red meat, full-fat dairy, butter, and tropical oils like coconut and palm oil. Artificial trans fats, the worst offenders, are created through an industrial process called hydrogenation and are found in margarine, shortening, commercial baked goods, cookies, crackers, and nearly all deep-fried foods. The mechanism of harm: trans fats are unequivocally pro-inflammatory and have been shown to damage the endothelial cells lining our blood vessels and promote systemic inflammation. While the science on saturated fats is more nuanced, high intake, especially from processed sources, is linked to increased adipose inflammation. This is critical because our body's fat tissue is not just inert storage. It's an active endocrine organ that can pump out inflammatory chemicals when triggered by the wrong foods. The tangible impact: regular consumption of these fats can damage the synovial membrane, the delicate lining that lubricates your joints. This leads to increased friction, pain, and a greater risk of cartilage breakdown. The solution is to consciously swap these fats out. Cook with extra virgin olive oil, snack on nuts and seeds, and add avocado to your salads. These foods provide monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats that are either neutral or actively anti-inflammatory. 4. The imbalance of omega-6 fatty acids. This final point for our first part is more subtle but critically important. It's not about eliminating a nutrient, but about restoring a vital balance. What they are: omega-6 and omega-3 are both essential polyunsaturated fatty acids. However, the modern diet is overwhelmingly high in omega-6s, found in common vegetable oils like corn, sunflower, safflower, soy, and grapeseed oil. These oils are used in the vast majority of processed foods, from salad dressings to snack chips. The mechanism of harm: in the body, omega-6 fatty acids are metabolized into compounds that are generally pro-inflammatory. Conversely, omega-3 fatty acids found in fatty fish, flax seeds, and walnuts are converted into powerfully anti-inflammatory compounds. The ideal ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 is thought to be around 2 to 1 or 3 to 1. The typical Western diet can be as high as 20:1. This extreme imbalance creates a constant, low-grade inflammatory state that is highly detrimental to aging joints. The tangible impact: this skewed ratio is like having the accelerator of inflammation constantly pressed down with very little brake. It means the body is primed for an inflammatory response to the slightest trigger. By consciously reducing intake of processed foods made with these oils and actively increasing omega-3 sources, you can fundamentally shift your body's internal chemistry toward an anti-inflammatory state. In this first discussion, we have uncovered 4 significant dietary patterns that can sabotage joint health. In Part 2, we will explore 4 more culprits and, more importantly, pivot toward building a proactive, joint protective dietary philosophy for a more mobile and pain-free life. Part 2, completing the picture and building a pro-joint lifestyle. Welcome back. In the first part of our discussion, we began to peel back the layers of the complex relationship between diet and joint health. We identified 4 major inflammatory triggers: added sugars, processed and red meats, unhealthy fats, and an excess of omega-6 fatty acids. As I emphasized, the goal is not fear, but empowerment through understanding. Now, let us continue our analytical journey by examining the remaining 4 dietary culprits on my list. Afterward, we will transition from what to avoid to what to embrace, creating a holistic strategy for nurturing your joints through your golden years. 5. The salty saboteur: excess sodium. Salt, or sodium chloride, is an essential mineral. But like many things in nutrition, the dose makes the poison. The amount of sodium present in a modern diet, particularly from processed and restaurant foods, far exceeds our physiological needs and can contribute to joint issues. What it is, the primary source is not the salt shaker on your table. It's the massive amounts hidden in canned soups, frozen dinners, cured meats like ham and bacon, cheese, processed snacks, chips, pretzels, and fast food. A single fast food meal can often contain more than your entire recommended daily sodium intake. The mechanism of harm. High sodium intake can cause your body's cells, including those in your joints, to retain water. This can lead to bloating and swelling, increasing pressure and stiffness within the joint capsule. More recent research reveals a more direct link. High-salt diets may trigger an autoimmune-like inflammatory response. It appears to stimulate a specific type of immune cell, Th17 cells, that is known to play a key role in the development of inflammatory diseases like rheumatoid arthritis. In essence, excess salt can put your immune system on high alert, encouraging it to attack its own tissues, including joint cartilage. The tangible impact. Many of my clients who successfully reduce their sodium intake report a noticeable decrease in morning stiffness and general puffiness around their joints. To combat this, I advise a simple rule. Eat real food. By cooking from scratch using fresh ingredients, you have complete control over the sodium content. Learn to love herbs, spices, garlic, onion, and citrus juices as your primary flavor enhancers. 6. The empty promise of alcohol. A glass of wine with dinner or a beer with friends is a common social ritual. While moderate consumption may have some documented health benefits, for those with sensitive joints, alcohol can be a significant troublemaker. What it is, all alcoholic beverages, beer, wine, and spirits. The mechanism of harm. Alcohol's impact is multifaceted. Firstly, it is a diuretic, meaning it dehydrates you. Your joint cartilage is about 80% water. Proper hydration is crucial for its shock-absorbing properties and for the production of synovial fluid, which lubricates the joints. Dehydration makes cartilage less resilient and increases friction. Secondly, alcohol metabolism generates inflammatory byproducts and can disrupt the delicate balance of your gut microbiome, another key regulator of systemic inflammation. For gout sufferers, certain alcoholic drinks, particularly beer, are high in purines, directly increasing the risk of a painful attack. Finally, chronic alcohol use can interfere with the body's ability to absorb and utilize essential nutrients for bone health, such as calcium and vitamin D. The tangible impact. After a night of drinking, individuals with arthritis often report a significant increase in pain and stiffness the next day. It can also interfere with the effectiveness of common arthritis medications. My counsel is one of strict moderation. If you choose to drink, ensure you're also consuming plenty of water to counteract the dehydrating effects. 7. The heat-induced hazard. Advanced glycation end products, AGEs. We touched on AGEs when discussing sugar, but they deserve their own category because they're also formed through cooking methods. What they are. AGEs are harmful compounds formed when proteins or fats combine with sugars in the absence of water and in the presence of heat. They're not a food group, but rather a byproduct of processing and cooking. Foods that are grilled, fried, broiled, or roasted at high, dry temperatures are exceptionally high in AGEs. The mechanism of harm. When you ingest foods high in AGEs, your body attempts to break them down by deploying inflammatory cytokines. This process creates oxidative stress, a form of cellular rust that directly damages joint tissues. AGEs accumulate in the body over time, contributing to the stiffening of collagen in cartilage and tendons, making them less flexible and more prone to injury. This process is, quite literally, a form of accelerated aging at the molecular level. The tangible impact. A diet consistently high in AGEs contributes to a loss of elasticity not just in the skin, but in the crucial connective tissues of your joints. This leads to a gradual increase in chronic stiffness and a reduced range of motion. The solution lies in your kitchen. Prioritize cooking methods that use lower temperatures and more moisture. Poaching, steaming, stewing, and boiling are excellent choices. Marinating meat in acidic liquids like lemon juice or vinegar before cooking can also significantly reduce the formation of ages. 8. The dairy dilemma. A case of individuality. This final point is the most nuanced and does not apply to everyone. For a specific subset of the population, dairy products can be inflammatory. What it is, milk, cheese, and other dairy products. The mechanism of harm. The primary suspect is a protein found in dairy called casein. For some individuals, the body may have a sensitivity or intolerance to this protein, triggering an immune response that can manifest as inflammation and irritate the tissues around the joints. Furthermore, full-fat dairy products are a source of saturated fat, which, as we've discussed, can contribute to inflammation. The tangible impact. If a person with this sensitivity consumes dairy, they may experience increased joint pain, swelling, or digestive issues. However, it's crucial to state that for many people, dairy is not a problem and can be a valuable source of calcium and vitamin D. The best approach I recommend is a personal one. If you suspect dairy is an issue, try a strict elimination for 3 to 4 weeks. If your joint symptoms markedly improve and then worsen upon reintroduction, you have your answer. If there's no change, dairy is likely not a trigger for you. Conclusion: a shift from avoidance to abundance. Having identified these 8 dietary pitfalls, the most important takeaway is not a sense of deprivation. It is the realization that you have the power to change your internal environment. The opposite of an inflammatory diet is an anti-inflammatory diet. I urge you to shift your focus from what you are cutting out to what you are crowding in. Build your meals around a rainbow of vegetables and fruits, rich in antioxidants that fight oxidative stress. Embrace healthy fats from extra virgin olive oil, avocados, nuts, and seeds. Make fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines a staple for their unparalleled omega-3 content. Use anti-inflammatory spices like turmeric, ginger, and garlic generously. This dietary strategy, combined with gentle, consistent movement to keep joints lubricated, maintaining a healthy weight to reduce mechanical stress, and ensuring proper hydration, forms the cornerstone of a proactive lifestyle. It is a commitment to nourishing your body, not just feeding it. By making these strategic and informed choices, you are not just managing pain. You are investing in a future with greater mobility, less discomfort, and a higher quality of life in your precious golden years. Over the course of our 2-part discussion, we have journeyed through a landscape of dietary challenges, meticulously identifying 8 key food categories that can act as antagonists to our aging joints. We have dissected the why, unmasking inflammation, advanced glycation in products, and nutrient imbalances as the underlying mechanisms of pain and degradation. But I must be unequivocally clear. The ultimate purpose of this knowledge is not to build a fortress of fear around your plate, where every meal is fraught with anxiety. Rather, it is to hand you the architectural blueprint to construct a body that is resilient, robust, and fundamentally anti-inflammatory from the inside out. The most profound power lies not in the simple avoidance of detrimental foods, but in the joyful and deliberate embrace of those that heal, nourish, and protect. Let us now pivot from a defensive posture to a proactive and creative one. I encourage you to visualize what I call the pro-joint plate. This isn't a restrictive diet, but a simple, elegant template for every meal. Picture your plate. Fill half of it with a vibrant rainbow of non-starchy vegetables. These are your foot soldiers against oxidative stress, armed with antioxidants, phytochemicals, and fiber. They build an alkaline environment that discourages inflammation. Now, dedicate 1/4 of your plate to high-quality, lean protein. This is your repair crew. Think of omega-3 rich salmon, lean poultry, or plant-based powerhouses like lentils and chickpeas, which provide the essential amino acids needed to maintain strong muscles that support your joints and rebuild connective tissue. The final quarter belongs to complex, fiber-rich carbohydrates. A scoop of quinoa, a small sweet potato, or a serving of brown rice. This is your source of slow release, steady energy that won't spike your blood sugar and trigger an inflammatory cascade. Finally, drizzle your creation generously with healthy fats, a splash of extra virgin olive oil, a sprinkle of walnuts, or a few slices of avocado. This is the lubricant, the anti-inflammatory dressing that ties the entire masterpiece together. This is not deprivation. This is abundance. However, as a holistic analyst, I would be remiss if I claimed that the fork is our only tool. The Pro Joint Plate is the centerpiece of a much larger ecosystem of well-being. Think of movement not as a chore, but as a form of joint nutrition. When you walk, swim, or stretch, you are creating a gentle pumping action that delivers nutrient-rich synovial fluid to your cartilage, a tissue that has no direct blood supply. Movement is medicine, and water is the vehicle that delivers it. Staying thoroughly hydrated is one of the simplest yet most effective ways to ensure your joints remain plump and well lubricated. Furthermore, we must acknowledge the profound connection between our physical frame and our mental and emotional state. Chronic stress floods the body with cortisol, a hormone that, over time, is intensely inflammatory. Managing stress through mindfulness, meditation, deep breathing, or simply spending time in nature is as crucial as avoiding sugar. Similarly, quality sleep is non-negotiable. It is during deep sleep that our body conducts its most critical repair work, producing growth hormone and taming inflammation. Viewing sleep as a sacred and protected part of your health regimen is a powerful anti-aging and anti-arthritic strategy. I understand that embarking on this path can feel overwhelming. The key is to reject the all-or-nothing mentality. You're not a failure for having a slice of birthday cake. The goal is progress, not perfection. Begin with small, sustainable swaps. This week, perhaps you'll replace your sugary soda with sparkling water and a squeeze of lemon. Next week, you might try swapping processed snack crackers for a handful of almonds. Each positive choice is a vote cast in favor of your future self. Each healthy meal is a loving act of self-preservation, a message sent to every cell in your body that you are committed to its wellness. Ultimately, this journey is about taking back your power. It is about understanding that while genetics may load the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. You're the primary architect of your well-being. The knowledge we have shared is your blueprint. The choices you make are your tools. By consciously building a life centered on nourishing foods, joyful movement, and mindful peace, you're doing more than just fighting joint pain. You are rewriting the narrative of aging itself, transforming your golden years into a vibrant, active, and deeply fulfilling chapter of life.